we have like we're in a WeWork, so it's a co-working space.
Yeah.
And we have different rooms with like horrible lighting and whiteboards in front of us and behind us.
It's so beautiful. And
Yeah.
also like with office lighting, like from
Um,
everywhere.
the content of this meeting is being sent to one or more apps. That's okay, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it
We're
does.
we're on the
Oh, we're on the YouTube.
Yeah.
Nice. I would never have been able to set up the YouTube without Ilaria.
Oh.
Yeah,
No,
Jen.
are you gonna like live stream it on YouTube?
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, because we talked about doing that too for our like generic ones. Maybe
Yes.
we should try to. But then I will need someone to do all of that for me.
Ilaria.
It's a
We
whole
will hire you as a consultant.
Yes.
Oh,
I
yeah.
just honestly I learned from someone else. It's not me.
Yeah.
It was someone in our team in Italy that was doing this and then explained it to everyone.
Yeah.
And then I had to figure it out. And then and then we're here to so every time you have to remember
Yeah.
start it on Zoom.
But
Then
it's always like always some like updates and then it's a new way of doing it.
yeah. But at least this is done. There's one person waiting. I
Nice.
don't know. I think it starts automatically at 2.
Does it record this whole thing?
Yeah,
Wow.
it takes up the whole thing and then it should save it somewhere.
Okay, if you want, what we can do is we can put our mics and our cameras off for the next like 13 minutes and
Yeah.
then you can come back into it and I'll
Yeah.
do the intro accordingly.
Perfect.
Amazing. See you in
See
15.
you. Bye.
Give it a minute and then start. Signe, can you see the chat section?
Yes.
Okay, amazing. In case any questions come up, they should be in there. I'm
Give
just
it a
going to
minute
start
and then
it in less than a minute. Signe, can you see the chat section?
Yes.
Okay, amazing. In case any questions come up. Sorry, that was the live stream. Okay, thank you. Yeah, we had our live stream repeating everything I
Yeah.
said. Okay, I'm
Good
gonna go
that you
ahead and
noticed
start.
that before we started.
At least it's
Yes.
we know it's working.
Okay, we're starting now. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. We're just going to give it about a minute and let other people join, and then we're going to kick off our gut health event. Amazing. It's really nice to see all of you join. My name is Mahnur, and I'm from Wellhub, and we're being joined by Signe today. Signe is from Lifesum, and she is the lead nutritionist at Lifesum, and she is going to be taking us through this wonderful gut health webinar. Signe, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, so my name is Signe Svanfeldt, and I've been the nutritionist and I'm the lead nutritionist at Lifesum for 6.5 years. It's crazy how time flies. And I'm so happy to be here, and thank you for having us. It's always so amazing with all of these sessions.
Thank you, Signe. We're pretty excited about this session. And to kick off, what we're going to do is we are going to have a little bit of a quiz so we can see how much you know about your gut health, and it'll bring you a little bit more awareness as well of what you want to work on. I'm just going to share it now. You're going to see a barcode on the screen. And if you can't see the barcode yet, you should be able to see. Okay, wait, let me share it. You should be able to see the. Sorry, 1 second. There we go. We can see the screen. So you can see the barcode on the top right hand and the game pin. So all you need to do is get your phone out, scan the barcode. I can already see some of you popping in, and put in the game pin. And as soon as you have signed up for it, we will start the quiz. It's so nice to see how many people are interested in gut health, and I'm pretty sure that this webinar is going to be so resourceful. Amazing. You should be able to see your name pop up on the screen. You should be able to see the screen that we're sharing. If you can't, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the link in the chat, and you can join in the quiz from there. If there's anyone else who's having issues seeing the screen and the game pin, can you just drop a message in the chat so I know? Nice. Okay, so I think some people can see the screen and some can't. Can you see Signe and myself, or is it everything is dark? Okay, some of you can see everything and some of you can only see the quiz. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, and if there's anyone who can't see the screen after the quiz is done, I'm going to drop a YouTube link in, and you can always watch it there as well because we are streaming live. Let's go ahead and start the Kahoot quiz now. Perfect. How does the gut-brain axis influence mood and health? Go ahead and pick your options. That's great. We have some numbers rolling in. 30 people so far have answered. You have 3 more seconds. Amazing. So 25 have picked by controlling the release of hormones. That is not correct, but 26 of you have gotten it correct, which is allows the gut bacteria to send signals to the brain affecting emotions. Really great job. How often do you experience changes in your mood or energy levels after eating certain foods? Go ahead and pick your options. Nice. 10 more seconds. Let those answers keep coming through. Amazing. 54% got sometimes. Some foods make me feel better or worse. It's great to see the participation. Just one last one. Have you ever tried out any digital apps to track your meals in a way to support your mental health before? Fifteen more seconds. Think about what apps you've been using, whether you're just putting them down on your notes or you're using something like Lifesum, MyFitnessPal, so many apps to choose from. We have 76 answers. 56% do not use any apps. Well, thank you for answering those questions. And Signe will be taking you through what can help you with your gut health now and telling us a little bit more about how it links to mental health.
Great. Thank you for answering those questions, and thank you for managing those. So should we get started? So as Manu said, I'm Signe Svanfeldt. I'm the lead nutritionist at Lifesum, which is a digital health platform. And I have a huge passion for helping people towards a healthier life through better eating and helping them making more conscious and nutritious choices, because many of you probably know that food has an incredibly large impact on our well-being. So the agenda for today, the focus is gut health. So we're going to talk about the importance of gut health, the gut microbiome, which is a vital part of it, and the gut-brain axis, and stress and gut health, because that's really strongly connected. And also about food, of course, that promotes gut health. And in the end, we're going to have time for a little Q&A. So if you have any questions along the way, you can write them in the chat, and we will get to them in the end. So let's get started. So first of all, you can also write in the chat now. Like we talked about this a bit, or you answered the questions already in the Kahoot. Like if you experience any gastric issues related to food or related to anything else, you can just write it if you want to in the chat and share. We have some yes here. Yes. And I mean, many of us do. So, I mean, and our gut has such an incredibly large impact on our well-being as well. Like if we feel an unbalanced gut, we can like impact our mood and our stress levels, and like everything is so strongly connected, and we will get to that now. So first of all, with the gut health, like our digestive system is so important in so many ways. Like first of all, as many of you probably know, we digest the food and the beverages we consume. And that this process like works smoothly is really, really important for our well-being. So our body like breaks down the food as it's supposed to. And like it starts from the mouth, where we like mechanically start to break down the food. And then later in the stomach, we start to like add more enzymes and acids to like break down the foods. And then like that, like here in the stomach, like some nutrients get absorbed in the ventricle, but then some gets absorbed later on in the intestine and even in the colon. So here, like it's this really like complex process, which is important that it actually works smoothly. Otherwise, we can't absorb all the nutrients. So nutrient absorption is really one of those key aspects of gut health as well. And it's also really strongly connected to our immune system. So a healthy gut microbiota is linked to a stronger immune system. And there's also some vitamins that are synthesized in the gut, such as vitamin K and vitamin B, or like some vitamin Bs. And also like our mental health is also very strongly connected to our gut. And this is something that's been like researched in the past years. And it's like a really interesting field that we see more and more research being done at. And it's a really, really interesting topic, and it's really strongly connected. So what is the gut microbiome? And why is it so important? So the gut hosts like trillions of bacteria, viruses, and fungi, and those are collectively known as the gut microbiome. And I mean, they do so much more than just digest food and all those things. And they actually play like an important role in producing neurotransmitters as well, like serotonin and dopamine. And that actually regulates mood and stress and overall mental health. And to have like a healthy microbiome means that you have like a good amount of bacteria, so you have lots of them, like the good ones, not the bad ones. And then that you have a good variety as well. So you have like large variety of different types of bacteria and that you have a large quantity of them. That means like a healthy microbiome. And it's not like really like sure yet like what exact type of bacteria that are beneficial to have in your gut. We know that some bacteria are dangerous and harmful, but we know that some are good, but it's not like yet clear like the exact amount you should have or the exact types. But we have seen that, you know, a good variety and a good quantity has been linked to a healthier gut. And some signs of an unbalanced gut can be that you're bloated or that you're constipated, that you feel like fatigue, that like extreme tiredness, like not just from sleeping bad the night before, but just like, you know, an overwhelming tiredness in your body. And also nutrient deficiencies, like if your gut or the whole digestive system can't absorb the nutrients that you eat, it might lead to nutrient deficiencies. And it can also lead to decreased mental well-being, as I said, because it's so strongly connected to our mental health. And it can also lead to inflammation. And that inflammation can actually lead to an increased risk for diabetes type 2 and also an increased risk for cardiovascular diseases. And that's because like it's a change in the metabolism as well. And of course, like everyone can be a bit bloated or constipated every now and then. And it can happen like if we eat something that we're a bit sensitive to, or if we're super stressed in a period, or if we're traveling, that can really interfere with like our regular bowel movements. But if this is something that frequently is available in your life, it might be good to investigate what it can be due to. So let's dive into the connection between the gut and our brain in this exciting topic. So the gut-brain axis, I don't know if you have heard about that before, but that is something that people are talking more and more about as well. And that is a two-way communication system that links our gut to our brain. And they communicate through like nerves, hormones, and immune signals, and they constantly like influence each other. So on one side, the gut microbiome, which I said before, like it's made of trillions of bacteria in the digestive system, can affect brain function and mood. And an imbalanced gut has been linked to mental health issues like anxiety, depression, and stress. But since this communication works in both ways, like just as the gut influences the brain can also impact the gut. So if we're feeling stressed, like for example, like if we're having a lot of work at like or in life in general, like many of us do, this can actually like slow down digestion and lead to inflammation and even change the balance in the gut microbiota. So like your mental state can actually directly impact how your gut functions. And the good news is that like you can through diet actually impact your gut health, and of course also through like stress management and mental health management. So we can support our gut and brain through our maintaining a good, healthy and balanced diet, and we will go through to that as well. So if you're right, I saw that some of you already wrote that you have experienced gut health issues due to stress from work. But is there any more of you that have experienced any gastric symptoms from stress? Because I know this is pretty common that people do. And you can write in the chat again if you want to share something. Yes, and it's a lot of you that has experienced that. And yeah, it's really, really common. So you're not alone, as you can see. And I mean, the stress impact our gut health and vice versa. And an unbalanced gut can lead to stress and mental illness. And chronic stress, like that's a really bad one. It can lead to like long-term stress that we have like constantly present in our life. It can really lead to that inflammation in the gut, which then can lead to like negative consequences in other aspects as well. And stress can also lead to worse and unwanted gastric issues. And that's both like long-term stress and also short-term stress. So if we experience like short-term stress, you know, when we feel sudden stress that we need to like flee from something, like that can really disturb like digestion, because then the body focus on like the fight or flight mode instead. So we stop the digestion and we focus on other things. But the long-term stress is when like we feel that, or like that inflammation can build up in the gut as well, which is not so pleasant, which can lead to negative consequences. But I mean, the short-term stress that we can have like every now and then, it's not as dangerous like long-term, but it can really be impactful like even your everyday lives as well. I mean, a regular bowel movement is really important for us. So if that's like stops due to like a sudden acute stress, it's not so pleasant either. So stress can really have an impact. So if we should dive into what type of foods that are important, because I said that like having a good and healthy balanced diet can have an impact on our gut health. So filling our diet with foods that promote gut health is like it's all about eating balanced foods and varied diets rich in nutrient-dense foods that supports our overall health. And it's really important with variation here. So we need like a variety of different types of food, which helps different types of bacteria and nutrients to support the gut health. And I mean, that goes for overall health as well. We should have a variety so we get all of the different nutrients. We can't just eat kale, for instance. We should eat like a variety of different vegetables. So I mean, the best way you can do is like to fill your plates with different types of vegetables and different types of fruit and berries, different types of nuts and seeds. And legumes are great for a gut. Even like short term, you might think it's just like disturbing your gut. But I mean, the trick here is like, if you want to introduce more of these types of food in your diet, because it's really, really beneficial for your gut health, it's good to like, take small amounts of everything. And like, if you know that you're super sensitive to beans, for instance, take like small amounts of beans and try to not have it at the same time as other like gas creating food like onions and garlic. So try to like have them a bit like separate and like chew properly. We can go into that as well. But these are really like food groups that are really beneficial for gut health and health in general. And also like whole grains, like filled with fiber, which is really important. And then also pre and probiotics, we'll go more into details about that soon as well. And we should also try to have a moderate intake, or a low intake actually, of ultra-processed foods, because those are shown to have like a negative impact on our gut health. And also foods rich in saturated fat. And saturated fats is found in like animal fat, like, bacon, cream, butter, because that can also impact gut health. And also reduce the intake of alcohol, because that can really damage the gut. And I mean, it's not like you need to completely forbid all of these foods from your diet, but it can be wise to just think about and focus on lowering the intake, because like in the Western world, our intake of these are way too high, like on a public level. So it can be good to just have in mind. And then I want to know now from you if you do include any pre or probiotics in your daily diet. You can just write in the chat again. Nope. Yes, 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 no. Probiotics from yogurt, that's great. No, no. It's a bit of a mix. We see some yes, some no, some different types of foods. And then we can go into. So when we talk about gut health, like you might have heard about pre and probiotics before. And probiotics are like live bacteria that can support gut health. And that is found, as many of you actually wrote in the chat that you're including, in yogurt or kefir, sauerkraut and kimchi, or like they're found in probiotic supplements. And sometimes like if you're taking antibiotics, you might be been recommended to take probiotics at the same time to like boost your gut with some good bacteria. And that's because like when you eat antibiotics, they don't just kill the harmful bacteria, they also kill the good bacteria in your gut. So that can lead to an imbalanced gut. So then it can be good to add some extra good healthy bacteria from the probiotics. And when you are talking about like probiotic supplements, some people like ask like what type of probiotics should you take, because there's so many out there. And the ones that we know most about, the highest evidence, is the lactobacillus and bifidobacterium families. So some of those might be the best, but it's always good to consult with your doctor and make sure that you're not having like some sort of disease that can, or like if you're taking a medication that might interfere with that. or if you have some sort of disease where you need to be a bit cautious, then you might not be suitable to take probiotic supplements. So always consult with your doctor before starting. So probiotics are like live bacteria that you add onto your add when you eat it. But the thing is, when you eat, like add those bacteria, it's not like they stay there forever, unfortunately. So when you add these bacteria and when you take probiotic supplements, it's only like beneficial as long as you do so. So when you take like probiotic supplements, it will only give effect as long as you continue to take the supplements, or when you eat the yogurt or kefir. And then we have prebiotics. And that's non-digestible fibers that feeds the good, healthy gut bacteria that we have. So it's kind of like their food. And that's important for them as well because they need to survive. And some common sources are like different types of vegetables, garlic, onions, bananas, legumes, like beans and lentils, whole grains. So that's like, it's really important to get that. So that's why fiber is so important for gut health. And then we have symbiotics, which might be new to many of you, and that's a combination of pre and probiotics. And I mean, together, this can like help to improve your gut health. But as I said, like it's not like it will have a magical impact and make your gut stay healthy forever just because like you took probiotics for 2 weeks, but it can help you in short period. Like some people that have IBS can experience like better symptoms or improved symptoms when taking probiotics. But and also like if someone eats yogurt or kefir on a daily basis or includes sauerkraut or kimchi, it can really help them feel better. So here are some practical tips on how to improve your gut health. So first of all, focus on having a nutritious and balanced diet rich in fiber and pre and probiotic foods. So add more vegetables to your meals. Like it's not enough to just add some lettuce and cucumber because that's mainly just water. Add like the fiber-rich vegetables like kale, broccoli, cauliflower, different types of root vegetables like carrots, beetroots. Like try to have as many colors of your plate as possible. That's a good like little thumb rule to have because when you add like more colors, you get more variety of nutrients, and it's also like a fun way, like if you want to involve your kids, for instance, like try to count as many colors as you can on the plate, which is fun. And you can also try to include more fermented foods like kimchi or sauerkraut, because those have those healthy probiotics. So like if you're making like a meal, like try to make it a habit to just like add a little pile of sauerkraut or kimchi to your plate as well. It will add both like flavor and good bacteria. And then when you're choosing like different type of grain products, always try to choose the whole grain option. Because like many of the products out there today are just made of refined grains. So then you basically like removed all of the good part of the grain, all of the fibers, you remove so much of the vitamins and minerals as well. And then you just keep like the kernel and make like white flour, for instance. So instead, like choose the whole grain options where you keep everything and you get all the good part as well. And then also a great way is to add nuts and seeds to your meal. And this is a super simple thing. You can just like, sprinkle them on top of your oats or like add psyllium seeds. It's like one of my favorite seeds. It's a perfect one. Like it's so rich in fiber. And just like add them to your oats or add them to your smoothie. Or like, you can make like seed crackers or just like add some pumpkin seeds to your salad or like some walnuts, whatever, or like unless you're allergic, of course. But try to add some of that because it can really like boost your meal. And you get some healthy fats as well, which will make you stay fuller for longer. And then, of course, try to have a moderate intake of ultra-processed foods and sugar as well. And then try to lower stress. This is very easy to say. I know it's very difficult for people because we live a stressful life and we have work, we have our like personal life, we have family and like everything, like different types of hobbies. We want to exercise, we have stressful life, but it's really, really good. And it has a huge impact to try to like lower the stress. And that also goes for when we're having our meals. Because many of us today, like just eat the meal super stressed, like maybe we're even eating when we're walking to the next thing or we're just eating like while watching a TV show or something. Like try to sit down and give like a meal the time it deserves. So it can really like be good to like sit down, chew the food properly, because chewing the food properly is also really, really important when it comes to like the digestive, how it feels like short term at least. Like it won't make that big of a difference long term, but short term it can really have a large impact. So many people that feel super bloated after having a meal, they actually eat way too quickly and doesn't chew the food properly. So try to chew it like until it's like, really, really soft. Like it sounds crazy, but maybe chew at least like 20 to 30 times and then swallow. Because otherwise we swallow so much air and then our stomachs gets really bloated. So try to like lower the stress and sit down and have a nice meal without any screens or distractions and focus on the food. And then try to have a moderate intake of alcohol. And I mean, it's generally considered safe to consume 1 unit per day for women and 2 for men. But I mean, it doesn't really provide any health benefits. So as little as possible is good. And then also, of course, include regular physical activity, because that has a huge impact. Like if you're feeling bloated, for instance, it has a huge impact to just go out for a walk and get moving, because that can really help. But also, for long-term health, including our gut health. And then also it can be good to be a bit cautious. I mean, if you need medication, of course you should take it. I don't want to say that you shouldn't do that. But I mean, if you're taking antibiotics, only do it if your doctor actually recommends it. And when you do so, like ask about probiotics, if they think that you should take it in the same time, because it can really be helpful. Because otherwise some people can really experience like stomach issues after doing so. And Lifesum, I know some of you hadn't tried to use nutrition app for helping you manage gut health, but Lifesum can really help you do so. I mean, I would say fiber intake is one of those very, very interesting things. Many of us eat way too little fiber. I would say the majority of us, actually. And we should aim at eating around 30 grams of fiber per day. And by tracking everything in Lifesum, you can really make sure that you're hitting that requirement. So you can see, like in the details, you will see your daily intake and make sure that you try to aim for 30 grams per day. And you can really see how it can make an impact if you just start to think about these things, like add more vegetables to your plate. Think about adding more less of those watery vegetables, but more of those like the cruciferous ones like broccoli or kale or cabbage. Those are so much more fiber compared to like tomato and cucumber and lettuce. And then you can also make sure that you have a balanced intake. So you're not just having too much fat, too much carbs, too much protein. Having a balanced intake is really key for overall health. So that can really help you. And I also talked about saturated fat before, and that can be pretty tricky sometimes. People might not know what sources are rich in saturated fat, where can I find healthier options. And that's also something you can see with Lifesum, which is really important. And it can also keep you on track having good, healthy level of energy intake. Because we all need different amounts of energy, and can be pretty difficult to know that you're not eating too little or too much, because both can have an impact on your well-being as well. So we need to hit our daily requirements long term. Of course, it's fine if you're under one day and up over the next. But I mean, overall, when you spread it out, we should have a balanced energy intake that are aligned with our requirements. So Lifesum is really helpful in that sense and can really help with gut health. And now we also have a new feature called multimodal tracking, which makes it so much easier to track as well. So you can just take a photo of your meal and we will calculate it for you. You can also use the chat and write what you're having, or use voice recognition or the barcode scanner, which is super simple. And here are some really, really nice recipes that are gut friendly in our app. And we have over 1,000 recipes. And you can find, I bet you will find something that you love when you go in and scroll around those different recipes. So here are just a few examples of some oatmeal with almonds. So here we get some really nice prebiotics in oats and some almonds and blueberries as well. And then some avocado and bean dip, which is super nice, like a perfect little dip to have before dinner. And then this oatmeal breakfast bread made of oats. It's super nice and filling. And some different salads, and then a spicy oatmeal. This is a really fun way of varying your oats to make it like a salty version, which is super nice. and then some whipped feta with yogurt, baked beets and kale. So these are just examples of recipes that you can find in the Lifesum app, which are amazing and gut friendly. Great, that was everything for me. So let's see if you have any questions. I've already seen that you have written some questions. So some people talked about yogurt, which is really nice, a good source of probiotic. And then one person asked me about, and before I will dive into these questions, I will actually move to the next slide. So you can scan this little QR code and give feedback about this session, and then we will continue with the questions. And then a question about what type of fat quality or fat percentage you should have in the yogurt. Should I have full fat? And I mean, this really depends on your goal. If you want to think about your energy intake a bit, maybe think about your protein intake, then like a low fat version can be good to have, because in the dairy products, we still get saturated fat, which we should try to eat less of. So, I mean, it's also about the amount, how much do you eat? Do you eat just a spoon or half a cup, or do you eat 2 cups of it? Because it can really have an impact on the energy levels and also the macros in general. So have a look, and see, depending on your goal, do you want to increase your energy, or do you want to keep an energy deficit? Because then it might be more beneficial if you choose the low fat versions. But just make sure that it has those live bacteria in. And then someone wrote, oh, kimchi, never thought about that as a fermented. And miso is, and they ask about, what about miso? And miso is also a fermented product. So it's really good as well. But the thing with miso is pretty rich in sodium as well. So you should also try to not have heaps of it. But of course, we can drink a miso soup or make it as a bouillon, or as a taste complement to some foods. And then someone asked, does sweetened yogurt from the store still count as probiotics? I mean, if it's a proper yogurt, yes, it might still have probiotics, but I would recommend you to try to choose the unsweetened ones, because otherwise you get too much sugar in as well. So the unsweetened one are to preferred. I used to love fermented food like beetroot, etc., but since I was diagnosed celiac, as most vinegars use barley malt. Yeah, but then you need to be cautious, of course, with the ingredients and read the nutritional labels. And then we got a question, do vegetarians and vegans have different needs than meat eaters when it comes to the microbiome? And I would say if you're having a very balanced and nutritious vegetarian or vegan diet, you might actually be beneficial for your gut health, because you might eat more of those beans, legumes, vegetables, which is great. And I mean, I would probably assume, this is my guess, now I haven't done a study of it, but I would think just by guessing, if you would have one of those type of healthy vegan or vegetarian diet, my guess is that your gut microbiome might be a bit more healthy compared to someone that eats a lot of meat and different animal products. That's just based on my knowledge. What is leaky gut syndrome, and what are the most common causes of it? Can you confirm it's an issue? I mean, when it comes to different types of gut syndromes and gut gastric diseases, it's really, really important that you consult your healthcare professional, because before you talk about this these overall issues that people can have with bloating, and think there's things that you can do yourself with diet, you need to exclude different types of gastric diseases. Because if you have issues with blood in your stool, or if you have constant fatigue, you need to consult with your healthcare professional to exclude that there is something more harmful, so they can check that. And then someone asks about what are the seeds you mentioned. I was talking about psyllium seeds. It's my favorite types of seed. I have 0 fat Greek yogurt. Should I switch to full fat? No, it depends, of course, what your preferences are and what your goal are overall. But I mean, the types of Greek yogurt with low fat can be really, really good. It can be a great source of protein. But just make sure, like sometimes when they remove the fat, they sometimes add sugar to it. So make sure to read the nutritional label. What is your opinion on level of intensity of supplements? Do we still need to, and how much? Supplements is really interesting, and it can be super, super beneficial for some people that have nutrient deficiencies and even vital. But for people that have like an overall healthy and varied diet and that they get like enough nutrients from the food they eat, they generally don't need supplements. And sometimes supplements can actually be harmful as well because you get too high doses. And especially like if you have any disease or like issues or take medication, then supplements can actually interfere with those or that medication. So it's really important to, like, if you have any medical issues, to also like mention that to your doctor if you're taking supplements. And I mean, supplements is really, really good if you have a deficiency. Like, of course, like for instance, in Sweden, where I'm based, we don't get any sunlight, basically in the winter time. Then people tend to be a bit low on vitamin D. So it's like, it's generally recommended to have some supplemental vitamin D. But since it's a fat-soluble vitamin, it's important not to have too high doses. So you shouldn't eat too much of it either. And the same, like if you're pregnant, then you're recommended to take some folic acids. But it's important that you do it like cautiously, so you don't get too high doses, because it's so many supplements out there with extremely high doses, which can really be harmful. So follow the like overall like recommendation. What probiotics would you recommend? Yeah, I mentioned like the two different lactobacillus and bifido lactobacillum and previously, and those are the ones that are most well studied. So those can be helpful. And it's like it's so many different kinds. I'm not sure like what different types of brands that are available where you are based, but you can also always like consult your doctor or like the in the pharmacy. What are your thoughts on being prescribed anti-anxiety depressants to help with gut health? I mean, this is something for your doctor or psychologist, I would say. But I mean, it might help, might not help. It all depends on like the other aspects of your health. But it's very strongly connected, so it could help, but it's also like something that should be taken cautiously. You have mentioned how stress can impact gut health, but haven't expanded much on how gut health impact mental health. Could you expand on the mental health benefits? Yeah, and it's so strongly connected. So, you know, if you have like a healthy gut, it will like help us feel better, because like it's, you know, it's a two-way communication system. So a healthy gut like communicates that to the brain, and then like it goes vice versa. So if we're unbalanced in the gut, it can lead to us feeling less mentally well, if that makes sense. So it's really like, you know, think about it as like a two-way communication system. So if one thing feels good, it will impact the others in feeling good as well. I've seen a lot online about lion's mane and sea moss supplements for gut health. Would you recommend this, or are these just a trend at the moment? I would be a bit cautious with all of those things right now, because it's very trendy and not a lot of research. I mean, I know that some research are being done on them, but I haven't tried them, and I haven't noticed any. Like, yeah, since I haven't tried them, I don't know the effects. But always be a bit cautious when trying new things and make sure that it doesn't interfere with anything. Any suggestion for constant bloating or uneasiness, please? So I would say like chewing the food properly is really one of the key things. So eat like slowly and chew the food properly can really, really be helpful. And then it can also be helpful to see if it's like some types of specific foods that actually trigger the bloating. Because some people are super sensitive to like onions, garlic, beans. And if you notice that, you can always try to like reduce the amount that you're having, and also think about not like combining them in one sitting. So try to like identify if there's any specific food item, lowered stress if possible, and especially around mealtime. And then also try to like, include some physical activity, like a slow walk or something after the meal can also have a big impact. Good. Thank you so much for all of the amazing questions. And I hope you have done this feedback survey as well.
Thank you so much for all the information that you've shared with us today and everyone who is attending and asking questions. I hope this helps you with your journey to better gut health. The app is called Lifesum. You can download it on Wellhub. You can also go ahead and explore everything that Wellhub provides for nutrition. Yeah, it was lovely hosting you. Thank you so much, Signe. This has been great. And we will see you all soon for our future webinars.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for the great questions and for participating.
Thank you.
Bye.
So, do you leave?